Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Hare
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jayo Krishna Balaram Jayo Nittai Gauranga Jayo Nittai Gauranga Nittai Gauranga Jayo Nittai Gauranga Jayo Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, 3rd Chapter, text number 27. Please repeat after me. Martyo mrityu vyalabhita palayan Martyo mrityu vyalabhita palayan Lokan sarvan nirbhayam najya gachat Lokan sarvan nirbhayam najya gachat Tvat padabjam prapya yadruchayadhya Tvat padabjam prapya yadruchayadhya Sushtashyete mrutyurasmadapaiti Sushtashyete mrutyurasmadapaiti Matto mrityu vyalabhita palayan Natto mrityu vyala bhita palayan. Nirbhayam nadhyagachat. Tvat pradabjam prapya yadruchayadya. Sushta shete mrityurasmadapaiti. Matto mrityu vyala bhita palayan. Lokan sarvan nirbhayam nadhyagachat. Tvatpadabjam prapya yadruchayadya. Sushta shrete mrityurasmadapaiti. Matto mrityu vyala bhita palayan. Lokan sarvan nirbhayam nadhyagachat. Tvatpadabjam prapya yadruchayadya. Sushta shete mrityurasmadapaiti. Marto mrityu vyala bhita palayan. Lokan sarvan nirbhayam nadhyagachat. Tvatpadabjam prapya yadruchayadya. Shrushta shete mrityurasmadapaiti. Matyaha, the living entities who are sure to die. Mrityu vyala bhitaha, afraid of the serpent of death. Palayan, running as soon as a serpent is seen, everyone runs away, fearing immediate death. Lokan, to the different planets. Sarvan, all. Nirbhayam, fearlessness. Na adyagachat, do not obtain. Tvat pada abjam, of your lotus feet. Prapya, obtaining the shelter. Edruchaya, by chance, by the mercy of your lordship and your representative, the spiritual master, Guru Kripa Krishna Kripa. Adya, presently. Sustaha, being undisturbed and mentally composed. Shete, are sleeping. Mrityuhu, death. Asmat, from those persons. Apaiti, flees. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. No one in this material world has become free from the four principles: birth, death, old age and disease, even by fleeing to various planets. But now that you have appeared, my Lord, death is fleeing in fear of you, and the living entities, having obtained shelter at your lotus feet, by your mercy, are sleeping in full mental peace. Purport. There are different categories of living entities, but everyone is afraid of death. The highest aim of the karmis is to be promoted to the higher heavenly planets, where the duration of life is very long. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, BG 8.17, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Ahar Yad Brahmano Viduhu. 1 day of Brahma equals 1,000 yugas, and each yuga consists of 4,300,000 years. Similarly, Brahma has a night of 1,000 times 4,300,000 years. In this way, we may calculate Brahma's month and year, and even Brahma, who lives for millions and millions of years, Dviprartha Kala, also must die. According to the Vedic Shastra, the inhabitants of the higher planetary systems live for 10,000 years. And just as Brahma's day is calculated to equal 4,300 million of our years, 1 day in the higher planetary systems equals 6 of our months. Karmis therefore try for promotion to the higher planetary systems, but this cannot free them from death. In this material world, everyone from Brahma to the insignificant ant must die. Therefore, this world is called Martya Loka. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 8.16, Abrahma bhuvanal loka punaravartino Arjuna. As long as one is within this material world, either on Brahma Loka or on any other loka within this universe, one must undergo the Kala Chakra of one's life after another. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. Bhagavad Gita 8.19. But if one returns to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, yad gatvana nivartante, Bhagavad Gita 15.6, one need not re-enter the limits of time. Therefore, devotees who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord can sleep very peacefully with this assurance from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, BG 4.9, Tyaktva deham punarjanmaneti, after giving up the present body, a devotee who has understood Krishna as he is need not return to this material world. The constitutional position of the living entity is eternity. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Nitya shashvatoyam. Bhagavad Gita 2.20. Every living entity is eternal. But because of having fallen into this material world, one wanders within the universe, continually changing from one body to another. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.151. Everyone who is wandering up and down within this universe, but one who is sufficiently fortunate, comes in contact with Krishna consciousness by the mercy of the spiritual master and takes to the path of devotional service. Then one is assured of eternal life with no fear of death. When Krishna appears, everyone is freed from fear of death. Yet Devaki felt, we are still afraid of Kamsa, although you have appeared as our son. She was more or less bewildered as to why this should be so, and she appealed to the Lord to free her and Vasudeva from this fear. In this connection, it may be noted that the moon is one of the heavenly planets. From the Vedic literature, we understand that one who goes to the moon receives a life with duration of 10,000 years in which to enjoy the fruits of pious activities. If our so-called scientists are going to the moon, why should they come back here? We must conclude without a doubt that they have never gone to the moon. To go to the moon, one must have qualifications of pious activities. Then one may go there and live. If one has gone to the moon, why should he return to this planet where life is of a very short duration? Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Enam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Itinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. No one in this material world has become free from the four principles: birth, death, old age and disease, even by fleeing to various planets. But now that you have appeared, my Lord, death is fleeing in fear of you, and the living entities, having obtained shelter at your lotus feet by your mercy, are sleeping in full mental peace. When Krishna appears, first Vasudeva offers prayers, and later these are the prayers offered by Devaki to the Lord. It's very interesting here to see Srila Prabhupada talk about the existence of birth, death, old age and disease in all planetary systems. And he's specifically mentioning about the moon. Right? Moon is considered one of the heavenly planetary systems. And Prabhupada is very logically saying, if you went to a higher planetary system where you can live for 10,000 years and enjoy significantly unlimited amount of happiness, why will you even come back here? Right? Prabhupada is not trying to talk about astronomy, geography. That's not what he's trying to talk. He's just talking about logic. And we really have to understand a little bit about what logic is presenting over here. A comparison for us is that within this planet we see so many living entities. Right? How many human beings are there? Everybody is giving different. Huh? How many? What is the population of the current population? So it's like, what is all different numbers I'm hearing? Yeah, somewhere between 7.5 billion people, right? So there is in this world itself, there is a gradation of this 7 billion people, isn't it? There are, and then if you use, just as a proxy, if you use their wealth as a proxy to understand their lifestyle, there are people with varying levels of lifestyles that live on this earth. In our own eyes we can see, right? There are very poor people and there are very, very rich people. There are people who are worth billions of dollars, right? Now, why is this different hierarchy created that we see in this own material world? Right? The reality is we are all supposed to be Satchidananda. We are supposed to have, just for take of way to think about it, if like everybody had $1 trillion. Think of it like that. If you had $1 trillion, would you like worry about, would money be something that you care about? It doesn't mean, it has no meaning. Right? If somebody comes and asks you, give me $1,000, okay, take it. Somebody comes and tells you, give me $1 billion, okay, take it. Because when you have $1 trillion, like you really don't care. Isn't it? Then the question becomes, why don't we all have $1 trillion? Okay, today, anybody here has a $1 trillion? We'd really like to make friends with you. Do you act like you have at least if some people have some money, they don't even, they don't live a consciousness of having that wealth as well. Right? Like the Shastras talk about, what do Shastras say about Yoga Brashta Parantapa? What happens to them? Suchinam Srimatam Gehe. Meaning that if you have not been able to finish your yoga in your previous lives, I will make a very favorable situation where you can happily continue without worrying about Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi and all this, this problems of this world. Right? If your basic things are taken care of, then you say, I don't have to waste my time on this. Let me focus my time on spiritual perfection. Right? I was just mentally thinking, if you just Suchinam, we understand, but that is a very difficult concept to internalize. Right? Okay, being born in a family where focus is spiritual life and your focus becomes spiritual life, then money and all this is meaningless. Totally meaningless whether you have $100 or $10,000 or $1 billion is completely meaningless. But since we are very conditioned, when we can only think about money and things like that, what is Srimatam? Where you don't have to worry about, you can focus only on spiritual life. What is the minimum level of Srimatam? I just did a little bit of thought experiment in myself. Just to say, do people who are in that situation, are they using that position or situation that is being created for them for their spiritual life? What I would like to hear from all of you. What is that? What do you think is in terms of net worth? And by the way, I'll give you some parameters to use a definition. When they define a HNI, high net worth individual, anybody knows they use two parameters. I'll tell you the two parameters. One is investable assets, and one is net worth. There's a difference. Investable assets means liquid assets that are investable, and then second one is net worth. Right? Can I understand? Anybody knows what is for a Srimatam who has all the freedom to just focus on spiritual life? What is the number we can come up with? $500 million. Who said? You need $500 million to only focus on spiritual life? My God. That is why you don't. Just can you imagine? What can you do with $500 million? What will you do with $500 million? 100 if there are 1,000 generations can live on $500 million. Now you understood. 5 million, yes. I actually thought it's not a bad definition. Actually, the definition of an HNI today, it should be changed because of inflation, is $1 million of investable assets and about $3 to $5 million of net worth. If you had that, will you say, I can live my spiritual life happily? It's doubtful. But if you really sit down and think about it, actually, you don't have to worry about. If you had that much net worth, you could because how much do you need to live even peacefully? No need to worry about house, food, living, and this, income. You don't have to worry about income. You don't have to worry about a job. If you had that much today, in this country, you can lead a decent life, a devotee life. I'm not talking about exorbitant life that most people want. I'm just devotee life. I want to eat nicely. I want to have a nice car. I need a neat house. I don't want to worry about going to work and manager calling this time sheet. I didn't do this job. I don't want to have all that. I just want to use my time for the Lord's service. Huh? And plus green card. Plus green card. Plus citizenship. Why green card? Plus citizenship. You know, I mean, maybe we have to say everybody wants to be at least in HHNI, and I think HHNI means $30 million of investable assets, and I guess the net worth must be in the $100 million kind of a thing. Is that? Because I'm not seeing that satisfaction of happiness of being a HNI and the people's. Wow, that's so many. The reality, do you know how many HNIs are there in this country? First in the world. What do you think, Ramna? I want the number of people I want. I don't want percentages. You said 10,000. Family is also fine. Family also you can call. I'm talking about families only. In the United States alone, there are 7 million of them. That is the entire population of the Bay Area, not just this Bay Area, I'm talking about all the 6 counties of the Bay Area. From Marin County down to Santa Clara County, Alameda on this side to this. Just in the United States alone, there are 7 million of them. There are 22 million in total. India has about, is ranked 10th in that list. Japan is the next one with this, then Germany, and then other countries. China has got lots more than India. You know how many Indians have that wealth in the United States? The estimation is between 225,000 to 400,000 almost. There are 225,000 Indians in the United States. The range is because there is no estimation, proper estimation. They're high, obviously. It's not a very clearly known this thing. But 5% of Indians are in this category. 5% in the US, which is an astronomically high percentage, because the rest of the whole world percentage is 0.275% for the whole world. This thing. So the reason I'm trying to give this figure is, if there are 7 million people with this, what are they doing with their Srimatam that is Krishna has given them? How many of them are focusing on getting rid of Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi? The reality is, that is what explains to you why today all of us don't have HHNI or HNI status. Because even if it's given to us today, we don't have that spiritual consciousness to really practice spiritual life. Every HNI is wanting to become an HHNI. Every HHNI is trying to become an HHNI. Everybody when you expand this, what Prabhupada is trying to talk about, you only know, I'm only giving you figures for this world who live. Prabhupada is telling, what about the universe? In the higher planetary systems, the Shastras explain that there are 30 million people. HHNIs, there are 30 million HHNIs in this universe. Because when you're a higher planetary system person, everybody is worth minimum that much. Right? Like in this world now, we can say, oh, there are so many people below you. There are 7.5 billion people, only 22 million people are in the HNI itself. Oh, by the way, in the HHNI category, there are only 300,000 people. In the entire world, there are 300,000 people, 3 lakh people. Not much, 300,000. But still a big number, but there are 300,000 people. So there are 30 million people, living entities, who are in that situation, but what are they doing? Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. They are focused so much on sense gratification and trying to protect this thing, that they go all the way up to Brahma. There's only one Brahma in this universe. His net worth is in trillions and trillions and trillions of this thing. Right? But what exactly are you doing? So it's not about what you have, it's about the consciousness. That is why Shastras are talking about here, is that we devotees, the just imagine the greatness of what we have. We have an opportunity to make this permanent. Imagine, permanently you don't have to worry about work, you don't have to worry about living, livelihood and family and this headache, that headache. Don't be happy. Use it, use unlimited access to this that you can use for whatever you want. And that's when a devotee says, oh, I want to just serve the Lord. And other devotees and just want to live in that consciousness. So one has to practice that consciousness. So there is we have to start understanding that what is it that the Shastras are asking us to do? What is it that the Shastras are asking us to the consciousness we are asking us to develop. So there is one example given in the Shastras of a person called Susharma. So Susharma was a very wicked person. Who was born in a Brahmin family but didn't have Vedic understanding. He lived a very sinful life, taking pleasure in hurting others, and in indulging in wine and flesh, and never engaging in pious activities and wasting his human life. He lived a livelihood of collecting leaves and selling them in the bazaar. Like I suddenly was reminded of Kulavech Caesar, which is the opposite end of the spectrum, but similar for Susharma. So one day, while he was trying to collect the leaves, a snake bit him, and he died from that snake bite. Then he was taken to the Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. He was taken to Yamaraja's court, where all of his misdeeds were all listed, and he was sent out to get reconditioned in the hellish planetary systems, where he had to undergo a lot of thousands of years of suffering. And then after that, he was, after finishing all of that, he was put into the body of a bull on this back in the earth. And so this bull belonged to a little crippled man, so he couldn't carry anything much. So he used to, he was not taking good care of the bull, this Susharma. By the way, he was given the ability to remember his previous lives. And so now he was a bull, and he was being overloaded. On a regular basis, this crippled man used to keep on overloading him, and he was struggling to carry the weight. Like you see now sometimes in India when you go, they'll have this cart, such a big this thing, and one bull will be pulling, very difficult life. Like that he was living. And then one day, he overloaded him so much that he collapsed and fell on the street. And he was collapsed and he was fallen on the street like that. A lot of people were looking at the bull and saying, oh, he's suffering so much. And they were taking pity on the bull. And then when Brahmana came, this is a good Brahmana with a lot of pious credits. And he said, okay, I'll give you part of my pious credits. You live a nice life. He said like that and went. Then some rich merchant came and said, oh, you're suffering so much. I'll give you some of my pious credit. You live nicely. One prostitute also came. And she also took pity on the bull, and she said, she was very magnanimous. She said she didn't really know how much price credit she had. She said, I have lived a very sinful life. I don't think I have any pious credits. Whatever pious credits I have, fully I am giving to you. So you can live a better life in your next life. And then after a few hours of suffering, that bull dies. And so now Susharma, he remembers, he was a bull, and this thing is brought back in front of Yamaraj. And then he's trying to figure out, okay, what is my next life now? And then Yamaraj's writer, what is his name? Chitragupt. So Chitragupt pulls out his account, credit and debit balance in this thing, and he says, oh, you know what? All your sinful activities is all cleared because those people gave you, their pious activities. And now you can take birth in a very nice family so that you can perfect your spiritual life and go back to Godhead. Then Susharma is curious. He says, okay, I have so much of sinful activities I had done and I had to suffer so much. Whose credit was it that, how much did I get from each person? Chitragupta asks him, you think who gave you this thing? He thinks for a little and says, it must have been the Brahmana. He was a pious, nice in this thing. His credit must have this thing. He must have given the most. A little bit I must have got from the merchant or whatever. He also had kursu. Otherwise he can't be a big merchant. And something that might have come from that prostitute also. Chitragupta laughs and says, no. Is a prostitute is the one you gave all of your credit. That's what cleared your bank balance. And he's like surprised. How is that possible? What exactly is how will the prostitute have so much of pious credit? What is she doing over there? Then he explains, there is a backstory to this backstory to the backstory. It seems there was a parrot in the house of the prostitute. And that parrot had a backstory. That parrot was also a pious living entity in its previous life, but still had done a lot of sinful activity. That's why she was put into a parrot's body. But that parrot lived in the ashram of a rishi. And in that rishi's ashram, every day that they were reciting the Bhagavad Gita, and they used to recite the verses of this thing, and it started remembering the verses of the Gita. And so, and she knew all the verses of the Gita. And this parrot, was caught by somebody and then sold. And it so happened that, this prostitute wanted to have a pet, and she got that bird. And this bird came to the house of the prostitute. And then this prostitute was at heart, she was a good lady. And then this parrot started reciting the verses from the Gita. And so she got interested, and she started listening to the verses of the Gita, and she started repeating with her. And so by the time this bull met that prostitute, she had really learned all the verses of the Gita, and she started living a pious life, and and she had accumulated so much of punya karma activity that when she didn't know. But she was also very magnanimous. She said to take the entire credit. That was so huge that it cleared up all her debt. So the reason this example is given is that we really don't know what power of the spiritual practices we are having. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra that we are doing, the practices that we are practicing, that's why many times Prabhupada says, you read many times in the Prabhupada books he has said, if you practice your spiritual life properly, don't perfect, very easy for you to go to heavenly planets. If all of you chant your 16 rounds nicely this lifetime and read, and do your basic things, whatever nonsense you do, next life, Chennai is guaranteed. You will be one of the 30 million in the universe. Minimum. Guaranteed. Stop wasting time on accumulating wealth and all these things. You're guaranteed, it's like just a matter of time. How many years you have left? Some people have 40, 50 years left. Some people have only 20, 30 years left. Some people have this. You guaranteed. Focus on what will take you beyond this and what will take you out of this material world. It is the spiritual consciousness, because you cannot fake this consciousness. So you cannot fake becoming a pure devotee or this thing. That you have to practice and do in this life. And that is the only thing. Unless otherwise you don't do that, you will go to heavenly planet. You will end up over there. So many examples are there. You will go there, you will come back to this material world again. Again you will this thing. Again you will start from a lower leg. Who knows how many lifetimes it will take for you to even come back to the situation you are in today. So we should be focusing on how do I daily basis change my consciousness so that I can be living, because unless you start living like a Vaikuntha consciousness, you will not go to Vaikuntha. I'm so sorry to give this news. You can fake whatever you want, you can do whatever drama you want. Till your consciousness is Vaikuntha consciousness, you will not go to Vaikuntha. Period. If you want, Janam, Dhanam, Sundarim, Kavitam, you will happily get how much ever you want. The process that is given to you can create unlimited amount of this. But unless you do the internal purification, you cannot go back to God. So that is why devotees have to really start focusing on this critical aspect of life. They're up for time. And perfect our lives. I just want to give you a little bit of perspective of what we have. The wealth that we have, we are not even understanding. And please utilize it properly. Otherwise, you'll end up in the heavenly planets. And have to suffer because that is a suffering. It's an intense suffering, because you will be enjoying sense gratification without even knowing the value of human birth, because that is also human. They are also considered humans. 400,000 species are there of human beings. You will not have value of that, and you could create sinful activities and come back to this. More of suffering. Okay, we'll stop here. Anybody has any quick question or comment before we end? Yes, ma'am. Exactly. There are, right, in the United States only, there are 7 million of them. There are 225,000 people. On that, you are born in an Indian family. Still, how many of them are practicing it, even to that extent? How many are using even small portion of that for perfecting their life? That is the problem. That is why Manushanam Sahasresu Kaschidetati Siddhaye. All of this effort, other things are not very helpful. You can go all the way up, you have to come down. You up and come down, up and what is the fun in this up and down, up and down? Because many people think, oh, that's nice, no, let's go to HHN, but it is suffering. Forgetfulness of Krishna is the only suffering in this material world. And being in whatever position you are in, you can actually remember Krishna and achieve that perfection of that position. Okay. Yeah. You can very easy. It's just like the way you should think about this is just like you have money. Karma is that you have, it's subtle money. When you wish somebody, you are giving. If you're truly wishing somebody, let's say you have to genuinely, you can't just fake this. When you genuinely wish somebody, somebody you really care, oh, I want to give you the credit. That's what yogis do. When all these swamis and all those things, they produce gold and this thing, or they can even bless you to, they can actually bless you to forget or get you rid of your this thing. Because you're able to transfer. Now, the amount of this example is given as a very rare case. Most situations, whatever blessings you this thing, you still have. But for him also, Susharma didn't say, you can go back to garden. Now you can get back a nice body, a nice situation where you can practice nicely. You cannot, that's why I said, the consciousness you cannot fake. A pure devotee is giving you that opportunity to practice. That Sukritis come, we have all got this only by the mercy of Prabhupada. That ability to practice the spiritual life, that is a very rare, very difficult thing to obtain. We'll stop here. Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Bol Premanande.